Well, hi guys, it's that time. It's our Bible teaching snippet of the day. Well, I hope you had a great weekend. I know that I did, and I pray that you did also. Before I get started today, I want to do this one more time. Last week, I held this up and I offered to mail out and send a free copy to viewers who request a copy of this book, okay? Now, there is an online PDF download that you can read off of your iPad, your computer. You can even print it off of a printer onto paper if you want to. But I know that some people prefer to have like a paperback, a book itself, because they like to read it and make notes and highlight, and that's perfectly fine. If you would like a paperback copy of this book, I'm still giving away some of them. You just reach out to me. And look, there's no gotchas, no catches. It's completely free. I will order the book, have it shipped to your home, directly to you, okay? And it will cost you $0, okay? So, now, what I think I want to do today, okay, is I want to do a little bit of a review or a recap, if you want to call it that, and refresh our minds on some of the things that I covered last week and start on a good foundation, and tomorrow pick up and keep pulling back the layers about the false doctrine of hell that keeps people in torment. Did you know that 1 John chapter 4, verse 18 says that mature, complete, grown-up, full-grown love, perfect love, cast out and runs away, puts fear on the run. And fear is always associated with a fear of punishment. Boy, that's a verse right there. Okay. That's why I am teaching and showing and pulling back and doing this study with folks, is so that they can be set free of the torment of a lie, that they're worried about themselves going to hell. They're worried about their loved ones, their family, people who have deceased. We need to really pull back the layers of this and prove to ourselves, study to show ourselves approved, and we can put our hope in Christ that we have life, because that's what he promised us, okay? So let me get started on my little review. Last week I showed you this. This is the 12 times, okay, this picture that I'm holding up shows you the 12 times that the word Gehenna, and it's actually Hinnon in the Greek, Gehenna in Greek, and it is referring to the Valley of Gehenna. Now, I'm going to say this because I like to shock people. I want to shock you today. Jesus never said and never uttered the word hell. How can I say that with confidence? Well, the word hell didn't exist in Jesus' day, and it'd be hard for him to be talking about hell because it didn't. That word wasn't around. Okay. Here's something else I'll throw in also. Jesus did indeed utter the word Gehenna, what we're studying right now. Those 12 times that it's listed in the New Testament, Jesus actually used that word 11 of the 12 times. Got it? But what Jesus did not say, one more time, the word Hades is in our New Testament 11 times. Jesus did not speak or utter the word Hades. How can I say that with confidence? Because the word Hades is a Greek god of the underworld from Greek mythology. Jesus, the living Son of God, would not have propagated a false belief system about a god of an underworld named Hades that rules over dead people. He wouldn't have done that. Okay. Jesus most likely would have used the word Sheol, which was a Hebrew word for the grave or the realm of the dead or the place of the dead in those scriptures of Hades. Okay. Now, he could have actually just used what we would call the word the grave or the unseen. I'll move on now. But Jesus, again, did not use the word hell. Jesus did not use the word Hades. Jesus did indeed use the word Gehenna, the one that we're studying right now. Okay, so let me make some more conversation pieces. I want to talk a little bit about this word Gehenna. Now, I showed you all 11 or places that Jesus talked about it, as well as the 12th place, which is James chapter 3, verse 6. Today I'm going to go at it. I'm going to say the same thing, but I'm going to say it a different way. Okay? I want to point it out like this. In Matthew chapter 5, verses 22 through 30, the word is used, the word Gehenna. Jesus says the word 3 times in one conversation. So realistically, this is one teaching, one conversation where he uses the word more than one time. Got it? Okay. Matthew 10:28 is the second conversation or teaching, if you want to call it that, where Jesus spoke the word Gehenna. Not hell, Gehenna. But it's recorded by Matthew and Luke, this same conversation. So that's actually 2 times that Jesus used the word. Well, let me say it this way. That's 2 times that Jesus used the wording Valley of Gehenna or Gehenna, 2 conversations. Okay. The third time, or the third conversation that Jesus used the word Gehenna is in Matthew 18:9. We also see where another writer, Mark, records that Jesus used it, and it's the same conversation again. So this is the third time Jesus has had a conversation about the Valley of Gehenna. The fourth time, and only four times total, the fourth time Jesus used the word or talked about Gehenna is in Matthew chapter 23. He uses the word Gehenna twice in that chapter. That's verse 15 and verse 33. Okay. So we have 4 conversations where the word Gehenna was spoken by Jesus more than one time in those 4 conversations. Okay. We have 3 writers, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, recording the 4 conversations total. Okay, 4 conversations. Matthew records most of the conversations. Luke records one of the conversations that Matthew has already recorded as a second witness to the conversation. And Mark records one of the same conversations that Jesus had about Gehenna that we find in Matthew. Another review. Jesus talked about Gehenna 4 times. It's just recorded in Matthew, Mark, and Luke by 3 different writers in 3 different Gospels. I hope that makes some sense. Now, I'm going to move from there, and I'm going to tell you a little more about Gehenna. I've already told you right here, it says that Gehenna it was in the day of Jesus, it's a valley outside of the city of Jerusalem, and it was a city garbage dump. It's where they put fire and brimstone in it to keep the fires burning constantly, okay, so it wouldn't go out, because people threw garbage in there, any dead animals in there, as well as criminals who had been executed and thrown in there to get rid of the body. So the bodies of human beings were burned in there. Now, in the Old Testament, the Valley of Gehenna is recorded as being a place where babies were burned as a sacrifice offering to Moloch. Okay, so let's get back to the Valley of Gehenna in Jesus' day. Okay, the Valley of Gehenna was understood to be a place of shame, where disreputable people or disgraced people would be discarded upon being executed. It was a place of dishonor. Okay, next. Jesus used Gehenna as a metaphor. Okay, metaphorically. Jesus used the Valley of Gehenna in a hyperbolic or an exaggerated way in almost every one of his 4 conversations. In fact, I would say that all 4 times it was used as a metaphor and as a hyperbole, an exaggeration to get his point across to people. Okay. An exaggeration a hyperbole. Now let's look at it, because over here in Matthew chapter 23, Jesus calls the scribes and Pharisees snakes and vipers. They were not snakes and vipers. These are metaphors and extremes that Jesus used to identify how underhanded and evil they were in their dealings with other people. Okay. You'll see that same theme in all four of Jesus' conversation about the Valley of Gehenna, about offense and everything. Okay. The Pharisees were not real snakes and vipers. Neither was Jesus telling people to actually cut out their eyeball or chop off their hand. See? I'm hoping this is connected. Okay. I think what's more important, okay, than that we need to recognize than most anything else, okay, is that there is no sense of eternal conscious torment in any of his conversations about the Valley of Gehenna. No. You may read it that way when it says the one who can destroy your soul and body. It doesn't say for all eternity. You may be reading it that way, but it does not say that, okay? And another very important thing, I'll repeat it again today. Who was Jesus talking to? Was he talking to you and every human that would ever live? And the answer to that is no. Jesus was talking to a specific audience, and they were all Jewish people who understood the day, the culture, what the Valley of Gehenna meant and stood for. Okay. We do not understand that. 2,000 years ago, that culture and what he was trying to bring home to people and make them aware of. Now, one more thing before I move on. James also is the only other time, okay, and I said this in another teaching, okay, we find the word Gehenna in only 4 books of the 27 books in our New Testament. That means 23 of them do not use the word Valley of Gehenna or Gehenna. 4 books, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, we just discussed that, and one other writing, the letter or the epistle of James, and James was also writing exclusively to a Jewish audience, the 12 tribes that were scattered. James also uses it in a hyperbolic, metaphorical sense. He refers to the tongue, a person's tongue, as being like the fires of Gehenna. Okay, I'll teach on that specific verse. Now for my wrap-up, and I'm going to use all my time today because this is where I want to land today. Instead of the Bible being about eternal conscious torment in a lake of fire burning forever, the repeated message in the Bible is that the penalty or the outcome of sin is death. It is not hell or eternal conscious torment. Genesis chapter 2, verse 17, Genesis chapter 3, verse 3. God clearly says that when you disobey me, you will die. You will lose life. You won't live. You will die. Okay. When we look at Paul's letters, Paul never uses the word hell. In fact, this is going to upset some people. Paul doesn't teach a destination gospel, going to heaven or going to hell. Paul, instead, repeats the same message, life versus death. The wages of sin is death, Romans 1:32. Through Adam, sin entered the world, and all men die. Through Jesus, the last Adam, okay, sin is defeated, and death is abolished. Okay. James also, in the letter of James, where the word Gehenna is mentioned, is not about eternal conscious torment. It too is about life and death, all through his letter. Now let's go back to Jesus real quick. Jesus himself taught that he came to give life, and life in abundance, John 10:10. He did not say, I came to save them from going to hell, so they could go to heaven. It's all in our mind. Okay. John 3:16. For God so loved, not hated, the world, that he gave his own son, so that they could have life, yes, life, and not perish or be destroyed. Jesus came to give life and to take away death. Okay. And the word perish there does not say eternal conscious torment in hell. Perish means here to be destroyed. And we destroy ourselves when we don't follow Jesus and find life in him. Okay, I've gone as far as I need to go, but I wanted to bring out that the Bible is about life and death. Life, us losing life, all dying, and then Jesus coming and reversing and undoing everything that Adam did. Okay, and not just undoing it, but giving us more in abundance of what we did not have even in Adam. So it's about life and death and coming back to life. God bless you, and I'll see you here tomorrow. Bye-bye.